Especially if you're just starting out, I think this setup is the perfect balance between functional and realistic. When I finally decided that I wanted to start vlogging my life and filming everything, I really didn't know what kind of gear that I needed. I think it's true that all you really need are your iPhone and a tripod, but I was also super interested in videography, and I was gonna need a setup that allowed me to get a more cinematic feel. At this point, I've been making vlogs consistently for 7 months, and that might not sound like that much, but I feel like I've curated a set of gear that works super well, especially when I'm out and about, because a lot of my vlogs are not in my home. They are either on travels or exploring Brooklyn and New York. So this is the setup that has kind of worked for me and my style. And if you're just starting out, I hope that this video can just give you a little bit of guidance and just get you started. Also, maybe some reassurance on gear that you've heard of. I'm also gonna be sprinkling in a few tips here and there, things that I think are pretty valuable for new vloggers from a new vlogger. Full disclaimer, this is just what works for me. I am by no means a professional. I did not go to school for this. Everything that I've learned are from creators on YouTube, my friends, and honestly just trial and error. This is just what works for me. And I'll link everything in the description below. And just so this video isn't entirely inside, I'm gonna send myself to the park and we'll do some demos of the gear. So let's get started with bags. So I have 2 bags that I use depending on the activity. If I'm traveling far and I need a big setup, I use the WANDRD Provoke 21 liter. This thing's great, it's pretty big, and if I'm carrying a lot of my gear, if I need to take everything with me to a place, this is what I'm using. It has not let me down yet. But to be honest, most of the time, I don't have a huge bag with me, especially if it's just my camera, my mic, and maybe a small tripod. And that is when I use my favorite combination, which is the tote bag with a camera cube insert. I know a lot of creators do this now. I think I got the idea from P-Skates, but I feel super similarly to him where I don't want something that looks like a camera bag on me all the time. I'd much prefer a tote bag or something a little bit more stylish to walk around with. I mean, I do live in Brooklyn after all, and they'll be clocking my tea if I'm just wearing a backpack all the time. So I have this camera cube. I think this is from URTH, and it's 3.7 liters, I believe. But this thing is amazing. It fits right into this tote bag. This bag is a 25-liter tote bag, and it's just my favorite bag ever. It's corduroy, it's Arsenal merch. I love Arsenal. This camera cube can fit my camera, a lens, and maybe an extra lens. And then I can fit a ton of other stuff just around the bag. The tote bag and cube insert is my setup for 90% of my vlogging. If I'm out and about in the city, kind of doesn't matter what I'm doing, I always have that setup. Because this leads to tip number 1. If it's not easy to take out of the bag, you're not gonna take it out of the bag. There's so many times where my camera just wasn't accessible to me and I might have missed a few shots, a few moments, and honestly just discouraged me from recording in the first place. So make sure your setup has 0 friction, it's super easy, and you're comfortable taking that camera out and in and out and in of your bag. Moving on to my camera. So I shoot everything on my Sony a6700, and this is my first mirrorless camera, my first camera that has allowed me to explore videography. I think before this, all I had was a Canon G7X, which was really fun for vlogging, but it didn't really let me try the style that I wanted to try. But this camera has just been amazing to me. I have learned so much on it, and at the time when I bought it, I didn't want to spend 4K on a camera I didn't know how to use. So it's no FX3, but if you're just starting out and you need something slightly more on budget but still expensive, I would highly consider this camera. There are also a lot of positives to using an APS-C camera, especially for travel, because the camera is a lot more lightweight and the lenses tend to be a lot more lightweight as well. So don't dog the a6700, don't dog APS-Cs, especially if you're starting. Get something that is within your wheelhouse and something that you can really learn how to use. For lenses, I have 3 Sigma lenses, but when I'm traveling, I need to make some decisions. I guess the most important thing when I'm traveling is to make sure my lenses cover a wide focal range. So typically I bring 2 lenses, and I bring my 2 most lightweight lenses. So that's the Sigma 10-18 f2.8 for wide angle, more vloggy style shots, and then the Sigma 18-50 f2.8 for the tighter, more cinematic shots. Also, since I'm shooting on APS-C, everything's cropped into 1.5. So the 18-50 was my first lens, and I felt that 18 just wasn't low enough for focal range.
I actually need to put it down when I talk.
So I opted to get a wider lens as well. Both of these lenses are super light and really great to travel with. I will say that I love my third lens so much, and sometimes I just use my third lens. So that's the Sigma Art 17-40 f1.8. So the f1.8 gives you a little bit more depth of field, a little more bokeh in the background, and I really like the style. I think the images are super sharp, and it is a heavier lens, but the sharpness and the light that it can let in is something that I love, and I'm willing to carry it around, even as my only lens sometimes. I would recommend, if you're just getting one lens, to probably get something with a large focal range, maybe that mid section, so the 18-50 style lens. It just gives you the most versatility, and like I said, when you're traveling, you don't want to be switching out lenses all the time, so get something that can cover the most. All right, let's talk audio. Audio. I'm gonna start this section with tip number 2, which is that audio is more important than video. And that might sound crazy, maybe I lost you, maybe you're gonna click off this video because you don't trust me anymore, but it's something that I've really only realized recently, and it's something that I am trying to improve on so much in my vlogs because it is so important, like so important. Think about it, if someone's watching a video, you can deal with bad video, but you can't deal with bad audio. If you hear muffled voices, if there's a bunch of noise in the background, you're gonna click off immediately because it's so uncomfortable. Whereas bad video, it's fine. We're all pretty okay at video just because of the cameras. They're so good. But audio is the real difference maker. So get yourself some mics. I have 2 different mics depending on the activity. When I'm doing run and gun vlogging, when I know that I'm gonna be super close to the camera, I use the Sony ECM B1M. I think I got that right. This thing's awesome, but you do have to be pretty close to the camera. The best thing about it is that it connects to the camera's hot shoe, so there are no ugly wires. It's also cool that you can change the pickup patterns on the back. So you can have super directional pickup patterns, so hearing anything that's directly in front of the camera, and then unidirectional, so it picks up a little bit more of the sides, and then omnidirectional, which is basically everything around the camera. This thing's great. I would say that you only want to use this thing when you're super close to the camera. This is how the audio sounds on the shotgun mic. And then from over here, and then from over here, you gotta be close. And then for scenarios like this, where you're a little farther away from the camera, testing, testing. Maybe you're outside and you're running around, or maybe you have 2 people that need mics. That's when I use the mic that I'm using now, which is the DJI Mic 2. So right now I actually have the lavalier attachment to it, and I have the transmitter in my pocket, and the receiver just also connects into the hot shoe with an adapter. So it's really great, super minimal. And you can get pretty far away from the camera. This is the audio from the DJI Mic 2. From over here, from here, oh my God, from here, and all the way over here. I doubt you can still hear me from here. My shoes are Okay, moving on to tripods. This one's really important for me because I've realized in the past 7 months that I really like postcard style videography, very still shots that have good composition, good color grading, and tripods end up being super important to get those kind of shots. So I have 2 tripods depending on the situation. If I need something bigger, something taller, a little heavier to get, especially those postcard style shots, I'm using the Peak Design travel tripod, and I don't have the carbon fiber one. It was a little too expensive. I got the aluminum one. It's super sturdy. It is still pretty lightweight, I would say. It's super compact, and I bring it around a lot. It's fits in my tote bag that I showed you, but it could also fit onto the side compartment of the WANDRD bag. It's got this really awesome compact ball head on the top. I'm staring at it right now. So if you just twist the adjustable ring, you can basically tilt the camera in any direction that you want, which is super cool. You can do so much with it. It's super tall for its compactness, and yeah, it's just been so reliable. Something I've learned from other creators and videographers is that you should not cheap out on this piece of equipment. It is really important, and a bad tripod is just a pain in the ass. So get a good one. For my smaller tripod, it's something that I carry around basically everywhere I go because it's so lightweight and it's so small. I have the PGYTECH Mantis tripod. It's so good, it's so small. It can go really low to the ground. It can hang on things. It's super versatile and a little less obvious, especially if you're in public when you're trying to film yourself. So yeah, it has its benefits. I carry it everywhere. And at this point, I've been talking about a ton of gear, and the total cost of all this gear really does add up. Like I said, I've gotten everything throughout my 7 months, but it's really expensive. So tip number 3 from me is that you do not need to pay full price for basically any of this gear. I think the only thing that I paid full price for was the camera and maybe one of the lenses, but everything else I got secondhand on Facebook Marketplace. I know where I live in New York City, the secondhand market for camera equipment is really good. There's a lot of option and people are always willing to make deals, do trades. So yeah, look for those deals, try to save money because you need that FX3. And finally, for the last section, I'm gonna talk about accessories, specifically 3 accessories that I think are super great for travel vlogging. So let's get into it. The first one is a Peak Design camera strap. It's just a camera strap, so I'm not gonna get too bogged down in the details. But what's really great about this one specifically is that it has these 2 anchors that you can attach to the sides of your camera. And the camera strap has these attachments that slide super easily into the anchors. I don't really know which one the anchor is and which one the attachment is, but it works so easy. You can take the camera strap on and off, which is great because you don't always want a camera strap and it's really annoying to take on and off. So the system has worked really well for me. Next, we have the most OP combo in the game and probably the most necessary thing. It's not even a question of like whether you should or shouldn't. You kind of like have to do this. It's basically the quick release plate and base plate combo. So you're gonna put a base plate at the bottom of your camera, and then any tripod that you have, you're gonna add one of these quick release plates. They just allow you to get the camera onto the tripod in seconds. You don't have to think about it. There's no screwing in things. It's so easy, and you should have a release plate on every single tripod you own. It is so essential. And last but not least, this one also is a complete necessary object. You can't shoot outside if you don't have one, especially if you're using... My camera just died. Also, it's overheating, so I need to finish this video so fast. The a6700 does have heating issues, and maybe next video I'll add a Ulanzi fan to the list. Where was I? I need to check what I even got. Okay, yeah, necessary item. If you are also shooting in an S-Log format, which I am, especially if you want cinematic, I think you have to go that route. But it's an ND filter. And I use a variable ND filter because I'm lazy and I don't wanna keep adding different stops of filters onto my lens. I'd rather just have one where I can twist it and get good exposure, maybe not the most perfect exposed image, but it's quick, and over time you get super used to it and it becomes second nature. ND filters are essentially sunglasses for your lens, so it can control the amount of light that is going into the sensor. So they're really important, and like I said, you can't really shoot outside without one. I use the Tiffen variable ND filter, and it's pretty good quality. I actually had a really shitty ND filter, and it got stuck to the front of my lens. I had to go to B&H, and they couldn't get it off, so they actually had to smash it off. The lens was preserved, but the ND filter broke. So that was the last time I was ever gonna cheap out on a ND filter, and I got one that is pretty good. This leads to tip number 4, which is to only buy one variable ND filter. You don't need one for each of your lenses. So each ND filter has a thread size that fits the thread size of your lens. So if you have a bunch of lenses with different thread sizes, you would think that you'd need multiple variable and ND filters, but there's actually something called a step-up ring that you can buy. So what I'd recommend is to buy a ND filter that fits your largest thread sized lens. So mine is a 67 milliliter. And then what you can do is you can buy a step-up ring for your smaller thread size lenses. So I have a 55 millimeter, and so there's a step-up ring that is a 55 to 67. So if I attach that to the lens, then I can just add the ND filter that I have for my 67. It works really well. Only buy one variable ND filter and get step-up rings when you need it. And finally, to end the video, I'm gonna leave you with one more tip, tip number 5, and that is to, oh, this is gonna sound so contradictory because I literally just made a gear video. Also, you've heard this, I'm sure, a million times, but don't let gear stop you from creating the things that you want to create. Like I said, I've accumulated all of this gear over the past 7 months, and before that, I had no idea what any of this meant. That video that I just made would have been so foreign. I'm so shocked that I can even make a video like this. And that's all just because I picked up that Canon G7X with no external mic, with basically no gear, and I just made a video. And it's a really shitty vlog. You should go watch it. It's the first one on this channel. But I created something and I posted it online, and then I just made sure that each video that I made after that, I improved on something small. Maybe it was gear, maybe it was editing style, whatever. I just improved slowly. And now, 7 months later, I'm not making groundbreaking videos, but I'm so much closer to being able to make the types of things that I want to make. And it just launched me into this world of videography that I've frankly become obsessed with and that I want to do for a very long time. So create whatever you can create with whatever gear you have. Don't let it stop you, because if you are really into this, it'll just propel you into something even more and even better. I don't know if that made sense, but you can feel the passion. You understand what I was trying to say. So I'm gonna leave it there. Say goodbye to Outside DJ. And I hope this video just gave you a little bit more guidance on getting started, and from the perspective of a new vlogger who's still figuring it out, but has slowly been able to figure out a setup that works for them, me. So thanks for watching. Good luck with your vlogging journey, and I will see you on the next one. Cheers. I actually enjoyed that. Do I like talking to a camera? Thinking about things.